Welcome. Today we're talking about Titan Insights, accessing reports, and using features. So on our agenda, we'll be talking about some training and support resources, some terminology, so we're all on the same page about what we're talking about. We'll talk about what is Titan Insights, how to log into Titan Insights. Then I'll jump into a demo and we'll look at how to access them, marking dashboards as favorites, then all the different features, filters, chart and table options, bookmarks, exporting data, and sharing reports with others. And then, of course, we'll have a dedicated Q&A at the end as well. All right, so in terms of training and support, IT training, usually what we can support is if you have questions about how to access the reports, kind of basic features of the different reports. It's really kind of the content that's covered by the user guides, which of course we have a link to here as well. But if you have more specific questions about like the data that you're seeing or just the report dashboards or Titan Insights in general, our ERP data warehouse team, they've set up an email. So they're titaninsights@fullerton.edu. So you can send questions there, or if you have suggestions for additional reports or features, you can always send them to them. And then, of course, technical issues are still handled by the IT help desk. And as I mentioned, we have a link here to the user guides, but I'm also going to show you where you can find the user guides within Titan Insights as well. All right, so terminology. A data warehouse is just an online repository for information. We actually have two of them at the moment. We have Titan Insights and then OBIEE. And both of them combine data from a bunch of different sources on campus into one place. And that makes it easier for the end users to view, filter, search the information, essentially run reports. But that's what we mean when we're talking about a data warehouse. And then a dashboard or report dashboard, it's just a way for us to group that data together based on some sort of criteria so that then we can give access to people based on that criteria. So we're going to be looking at the degrees dashboard today. And that simply allows people to look at what degrees have we awarded to students over the last, oh goodness, I think it goes back 20 some odd years. So that's just what a report dashboard is. And then we actually have the report or tab. Those are the actual reports that you're going to interact with. So that's where you're actually going to filter, sort, and export the data at that level. And so we'll be looking at like the degrees awarded by major reports. That's the one that we're exploring today. So Titan Insights is essentially a modernization of our campus data warehouse. It's now powered by advanced cloud technology. And in fact, we've set up what they call a cloud agnostic solution, which simply means that we're not dependent on a specific app or platform. So currently, Titan Insights uses Amazon Web Services or AWS QuickSight. So you'll see QuickSight when you log in. But let's say that we wanted to change that in the future. We actually have it set up now, so it should be easier for us to transfer our existing reports to another provider without having to do quite as much detailed programming to get it to work on a different platform. But you should find that our Titan Insights, it's faster, it's more efficient, there's improved system stability and reliability. It will be a replacement for OBIEE, but OBIEE will be available until summer of 2025. So currently, we have for student and HR dashboards, they're available in both Titan Insights and OBIEE. And for the most part, there's no difference between them. Like the data is still being updated in both locations, but there are a couple of reports where it is not. I'm thinking specifically of the faculty student success dashboard. There is a link there to Canvas, and we can't link Canvas to more than one data warehouse. So it's pointing to Titan Insights. So some of that student engagement data is really most up-to-date versions of it is just in Titan Insights. But otherwise, you can use whichever one you would like. In terms of the finance dashboards, that will be coming to Titan Insights in spring of 2025. So for now, it's just an OBIEE. All right, so in terms of logging in to Titan Insights, there is a new Titan Insights icon in Titan Online on the campus portal. That's, of course, the easiest way to access it. The faculty also have a link to on the faculty homepage in PeopleSoft that now redirects to Titan Insights. So that's another way that they can get to it. We're going to go ahead and click on Titan Insights. Oh, and it's logged me out. So we'll just, there we go. So when you first log in, it's going to take you to this favorites. So I highly recommend marking pretty much all of the dashboards that you use as a favorite, just because it makes it so much easier to get to it. It's a lot less clicks. So you can go ahead and add them pretty easily. You're simply clicking the little star next to it, but I'll show you where that is when we get to the actual dashboards. You can also click recent to go to recent ones that you may have accessed, but generally you're going to go to shared folders. And so you'll see here is the user guide. We'll take a brief detour. If I click on landing page, here's links to all of the user guides that we have currently for Titan Insights. So it's very easy to go ahead and get right to it from here. You can mark this as a favorite if you'd like to as well, but I'll just click quick cite to go back to the home page. We'll go back to shared folders. And then I'm going to go to student. And now I have access to a lot of dashboards, but you probably will see the dashboards at the top, and then you'll see these drill reports as well. These drill reports are kind of sub-reports for these. They're more like the detail reports for a lot of these report dashboards. So generally the way that you get to these is by going to one of these report dashboards and clicking on the detail. So we'll go to degrees here. And here's the little star where you simply click right there to go ahead and add or remove something as a favorite. So similar to OBIEE, once you click on a dashboard, it's going to run whatever report is right here. And it should look similar to what you see in OBIEE at the moment. Up at the top will be your filters. And some of these reports, they have this sort of controls panel that you simply need to click, and then it will expand to show you the filters. Or sometimes the filters, of course, are just up here at the top. And some of your filters are going to be, I can choose one or the other. And some of them, when they have this little checkbox, that means that I can pick and choose which ones that I want to include. And of course, I have a search up here at the top. So right now I'm looking at, 13-14, that academic year. That's kind of a long time ago. So if I want to search for something, let's say I want to look at, I'm going to say fall 2023. And then I'm going to put in 2024 and put in spring and summer. Now it just added all of those filters. So if I click this show selected, this is going to show me here's all of the filters that I am currently applying to this report. And I can easily click this little X to remove them. And you can see it's updating the report right behind me right there. But now I'm only seeing basically last academic year. And I can kind of move on from there. And when you hover over a filter, you'll see this 3 dots here. That's where I can reset or refresh if I want to refresh. But reset means I only want to reset this particular filter to whatever the default is. I don't want to touch any other filters or settings that I have for this report. So that's a nice way to just kind of undo something if you wanted to go back to whatever the default was for that particular filter. And when you're looking at the charts here, it works pretty much the same as the other ones. When you hover over it, it'll show you the actual count, depending on what it is that you're looking at. But notice here I have an option to maximize. And that just makes the chart a little bit bigger, so it's a little easier to see, which is really nice if you have a ton of information on that chart, but so it's hard to read it. This makes it so that you can kind of just get a better look at it, and then I can minimize it to put it back the way that it was. I also have some options here where I can view the summary data. And this is going to show me here is the actual data that is making up this particular chart. So it makes it easy to see the numbers without having to hover over anything. I can also export that to CSV, so to Excel CSV, if I want to do that as well. So it's nice because you can kind of get the data behind these charts, not just looking at the charts and kind of hovering over them and writing down the data that you see there. Then if I scroll down here, I have similar things here. I can maximize And sometimes, depending on what your browser is set up like and what your monitor is set up like, it may not get much bigger, but you can maximize or minimize and see if that helps to be able to see the detail here for the table. Let's do degree. So if I click on one of these column headers, you can see I can change the sort order. I can also collapse a column if I want to. I can do the same thing for a row as well. I can kind of collapse it if I want to only I don't want to see that sort of detail. I can kind of just hide it temporarily. And you'll notice that I had that option to drill. So if I click here just on one of the cells, I can drill down by degree or by gender. So in this case, I'm going to choose degree. And this is one of those drill reports that's tied to it. And so it opens in a new tab. And this is one of those charts where, yeah, it might help to do a maximize because there's so much data and it's so tiny. So it can all fit here. But now I can see here's the detail that's showing the actual majors that were for the degrees that we awarded. So I'm just going to close this tab to go back. And then I have some more menu options here too. I really like the show plus minus buttons because this does the sort of expand collapse, but in a much easier way to control. So let's say I don't really care about the undergraduate. I can easily just click the minus. It's still showing me the totals for the undergraduates. I'm just not seeing all of the breakdown for it. But it's really easy to just click plus and bring it right back. So I feel like this is a little bit easier for collapsing data and temporarily so that you can kind of focus on something. I can also export this to either CSV or to Excel. And essentially what this does is the Excel will take exactly what you're seeing here in the table and put it into Excel with all the subtotals and formatting applied to it. And of course, CSV is going to sort of just give you the data with no styling or formatting. So we'll take a look at it. We'll try export to Excel first. And you can see it's working on my file. And it's ready and it's downloaded. Depending on what your browser is, it may or may not automatically download it like this. I think in Chrome, sometimes it prompts you and you can choose where you want to save it. In this case, it's just put it in my downloads. So here it is. You can see that it's put it in there with exactly the same styling. It's put all the subtotals. I'm not always fond of this one because, similar to OBIEE, it's really hard to go ahead in here and just start sorting or filtering. There's a lot of work I have to do before I can do something like that. Whereas if I choose export to CSV, it's just put in the data here. I do have to format this as numbers because there's not really any formatting here, but this is a lot easier for me to get moving quickly to either filter, sort, whatever I'd like to do with this data. So I kind of prefer that a little bit more. So let's say that you did a download and somehow you can't find it and all those little pop-ups have gone away. If you come up here to this export icon, there's an option to view exports. So this is showing me what I have done within this particular session. If I close this out and come back later, these won't be here. But within my same session, it's going to show me all the stuff that I have exported. And so I can easily come here, click on the click to download, and I can download it again. Also under export, you have the options to print or generate a PDF. I find that with both of these, depending on the report, it often cuts off some of the data. So you have to be a little careful with it because ideally what it wants is the system really wants to print everything onto a single page. And it doesn't always fit on a single page. So the print I find cuts off more than the generate PDF, but even the generate PDF, if it can't fit it onto even like an 11 by 17 page, it really just does not want to put all of the data in there. So I would just keep an eye out if you want to try those. I think it's better to export the data and then create kind of your own little report so that then it's, you know, you have all of the data within that. So also up here, we have bookmarks. And you can see I've created a few here, but bookmarks are essentially saved reports. And so here's the original one. Here's one that I created the other day. Here's one that actually I can go ahead and delete because I'll just recreate it. So once you have settings that you'd like to save, I can add a bookmark, give it a name. So like I can call this AY 2324 or whatever's meaningful to you since it's just you who will see this. And now I have it saved. And so I can update it, I can rename it, I can also set it as a default so that every time that I come to this report, it will use my settings for it. This can be really helpful if you are running reports for a particular fiscal year, academic year, and you're going to be running it throughout that time. It's really nice to have it just jump to what you need right away rather than having to select a bookmark each time. So that's kind of nice. And of course, I can come in here and delete them too. So if I don't need a report anymore, I can come in here and delete that bookmark. So also up here at the top, we have a share. So if I want to share this report with someone else, I can take this link and I can paste it into a email, into a Teams chat, wherever I'd like. The person should probably log into TitanInsights first and then click on that link, and it should take them to the same report, provided, of course, that they have access to that report. So if they don't have access to the degrees dashboard, they won't be able to click on this at all. Nothing will happen. But as long as they have access to that, and going forward, if there's like a department, you know, department security on it, or let's say I'm on the faculty student success dashboard, it's not going to show them my data. It's only going to show them what they have access to. So they may not get the exact report if there's some sort of permission that's needed for that particular report. But you can easily share that with them. It's not tied to your report at all. So once they get it, it's just going to be static. So if I come in here later and I change to a different academic year here and save it, it's not going to update their report. But they can create a bookmark link for that report. And that's where that Lori's report came from before. They can create a bookmark that saves that, and then they'll be able to run it whenever they would like. There's also this fit to window. This is kind of helpful in some cases. Again, it depends on how web browser you're using, how big your monitor is. So sometimes it will make things a little bit bigger, which is kind of nice, makes it easier to see it. But you can see that it does fit to window even when it's a smaller window. So that doesn't really help. If I uncheck it, now that's a little bit better for this size. But it's something that you can kind of look at and see if it helps improve the readability of a report for you. And then lastly, we have this reset to original dashboard, and that's going to take away all of my particular settings and go back to whatever the default settings for this particular report are. So we're back to 1314, and it's taken away my personalizations here with the plus minus buttons and etc. This is pretty much the same thing as going to the bookmark and then clicking original dashboard. It's just obviously a couple less steps, but I can easily come back in here and choose the one that I had before.